My wife's one that got away, decided to join some spiritual commune. To follow him, she liquidated her multi-million-dollar trust fund, donated it to build him a retreat center, and then vanished from the world with him. At the same time, I was scrambling to find a doctor for our sick daughter. We nearly froze to death on the streets. Later, I worked construction, picked up dangerous jobs as a commercial diver. Anything just to keep my daughter and me alive. I clawed my way up until I finally managed to start my own company. The day I closed the biggest deal of my career, my wife came back. The reason? Her spiritual guru had cancer, and she wanted me to pay for his treatment. I was in my office, still buzzing from landing the city's new downtown revitalization project, when a text from my sister-in-law came through. Rachel, Cole, Isabelle's back. Get ready. We're almost at your office. I stared at the screen for a second before it registered. Isabelle. My wife. The same Isabelle who had abandoned everything to follow her high school sweetheart into a life of asceticism. I didn't reply. Another text popped up. Rachel. Hey, come on, Cole. Don't be like that. She promised me this time is different. She's not leaving again. And after all these years, she really misses summer. Can you really deny your daughter a mother? I read those words and my stomach tightened. Summer. I immediately dialed her number. She had only been 5 when Isabelle left. The day she realized her mom wasn't coming back, she cried for hours. For years, her most common question was, Dad, why don't I have a mom? I didn't want Isabelle's sudden return reopening that wound. Not now, not when Summer had finally come to terms with it. Hey, Dad, when are you picking me up? Summer's cheerful voice came through the phone. I forced a smile into my own voice. Hey, sweetie. Dad's got something last minute. How about I have Ashley pick you up? I'll just send her some money on Venmo. You two can hit the mall. Get yourself something nice. Wow, Dad. Since when are you Mr. Big Spender? She teased. Don't get smart, I laughed. Just swing by the office after you're done, okay? Okay. Thanks, Dad. After hanging up, I hurried downstairs. 2 women were standing outside the building. Even after a decade, I recognized Isabelle instantly. She hadn't changed much, though. Fine lines now creased the corners of her eyes. Her once flawless skin was darker, weathered, streaked with a few gray strands in her hair. Her hands were on her hips, her voice sharp with impatience. Did you even tell Cole I was coming today? I've been standing here forever. Why isn't he down here yet? Rachel tried to soothe her. Izzy, calm down. You were gone for years. It's normal for him to be a little difficult. Just give him a minute. Isabelle scoffed. I have no idea what I ever saw in a guy like that. A bitter laugh escaped me. She had a point. I was just as surprised as anyone when she'd agreed to marry me. Her family had money, legacy. I was a no-name kid from a dead-end town in the Rust Belt with no parents and no prospects. She only gave me the time of day because Julian, the love of her life, had moved to Europe. It was like she gave up on love and just settled. After we got married, her family, and she herself, never let me forget it. Then came the news that Julian had renounced his worldly possessions to follow some guru. That very night, Isabelle made her decision. She cashed out her entire inheritance to fund a new center for him and followed him into seclusion. The story made local headlines. People romanticized their tragic love. But while they were being celebrated, our daughter was diagnosed with leukemia and desperately needed money for treatment. I had nothing. We were homeless. I worked sites and took on the most dangerous commercial diving jobs. One dive could net me $100,000. I lost count of how many times I went down, how many times I almost didn't come back up. It took years, but eventually I saved enough to get some of the care she needed. And now, just when our lives were finally stable, comfortable, Isabelle was back. As I stood there, lost in thought, Rachel spotted me. Cole, there you are. Isabelle turned, her expression a mask of annoyance. What took you so long? Hurry up and tell security to let me in. My legs are killing me from all this standing. I smiled, cold and empty. What are you doing back here? Her face hardened. Your company is my company. Why can't I be here? Yours. I let out a short, harsh laugh. Last I checked, you sold off your company shares and your house for a higher cause. Didn't you? Isabelle flinched. Then her anger flared. Are you still holding on to that? For God's sake, Cole, can't you be a little more magnanimous? I don't have your level of generosity, Isabelle. I didn't spend every penny I had to go play disciple with another man. My sarcasm hit its mark. She raised her hand to slap me. A familiar gesture from the past. Back then, I would have taken it because I loved her. But now, I wasn't about to let her lay a finger on me. Before things could escalate, Rachel jumped between us. Hey, what is wrong with you two? This is supposed to be a happy day. Why are you fighting? She turned to me. Cole, I know you're upset. She was gone a long time. You have a right to be angry, but I already gave her an earful. She promised me she's back for good. She tried a folksy smile. Come on, no need to make a mountain out of a molehill. A molehill? I snapped. She nearly got me and my daughter killed, and you call it a molehill? Isabelle shot back, indignant. What do you mean I nearly got her killed? You're the man. It was your job to provide for her. What did you expect from me, a woman? She tossed her head. Besides, it was my money. I could have set it on fire and it would have been none of your business. Hearing that, I laughed. A genuine, humorless laugh. Fine. If that's how you feel, then please leave. I hope you never show your face to me or my daughter again. We don't want to see you. Seeing my resolve, Rachel looked flustered. Come on, Cole. Don't be so rash. Even if you don't want to see her, what about Summer? Have you asked her what she wants? I'm sure she misses her mother. At the mention of our daughter, Isabelle's confidence surged back. That's right. I'm Summer's mother. I have a right to see my own daughter. What gives you the right to turn me away? Hearing her invoke our daughter's name without a shred of guilt sent a hot spike of fury through me. I turned to the security guard at the desk. I don't know these two women. Please escort them off the property. Isabelle shrieked and lunged at me. But just then, another voice cut through the tension. Dad, what are you doing out here? My heart seized. Summer. Even now, as a teenager, I could still see the longing in her eyes whenever she looked at her friends with their moms. I was terrified this encounter would shatter the peace she'd fought so hard to find. I tried to step in front of her to shield her, but it was too late. Summer was already walking toward Isabelle. Summer, Isabelle said, her voice dripping with manufactured emotion. It's me, Mom. I'm back. Did you miss me? I watched my daughter, my breath caught in my throat. I was ready to drag Isabelle away at the first sign of distress. But Summer just smiled. Mom, you're back. Isabelle was overjoyed, shooting me a triumphant look. Yes, I am. And your father was about to kick me out. Summer, you've grown up so much. You take after me. Thank God. Not petty like your dad. She reached out to take Summer's hand, trying to project the image of a doting mother. Summer let her for a moment, then gently pulled her hand away. Isabelle's face fell, but Summer's smile didn't waver. Well, since you're here, you might as well come in. Isabelle's smug expression returned. I took Summer's hand, my voice low. Summer, if you don't want her here, I'll get rid of her right now. She just squeezed my hand. Dad, what are you talking about? She's my mother after all. Her composure eased some of my anxiety. Isabelle and Rachel swept into my office as if they owned the place. They looked around immediately, starting to critique everything. Cole, I'm surprised, Isabelle said. A kid from nowhere starting his own company. It's nice. I don't like the decor though. You'll have to get someone in to change it. My employees stared as the two women flitted around, whispering among themselves. Isabelle plopped down in my chair like a queen taking her throne. A moment later, she snapped at my assistant. What kind of assistant are you? I've been here for 5 minutes, and you haven't even offered me a glass of water." She smirked at me. "See, Cole, you still don't know how to manage people. But don't worry, I'm back now. Once I take over, I'll whip this place into shape." My face was a thundercloud. If Summer hadn't been there, I would have thrown her out myself. Ashley glanced at me, uncertain. "Ashley, could you please get them some tea?" Summer asked calmly. Ashley nodded and hurried out. Isabelle continued her inspection. "This office will have to be redone in my style. Oh, and Rachel doesn't have a job right now. Find a nice, easy position for her tomorrow." She waved a dismissive hand. "She's my sister, so the salary can't be too low. Let's say 6 figures, full benefits." Rachel beamed before I could say a word. She chirped, "Thanks so much, Cole." I let out a cold laugh and excused myself to the restroom. On a whim, I pulled up the security feed for my office on my phone. As soon as I was gone, Rachel sidled up to Isabelle. "You really know how to handle him. Even if he's still mad, he wouldn't dare do anything with Summer around." She ran her hand over the polished mahogany of my desk. "God, since Mom and Dad passed and the family money dried up, I've forgotten what real quality feels like. You have to lock this down." Isabelle smiled smugly. "Of course I know Cole. He's all bark and no bite. I'll just play nice for a bit and he'll fold. This will all be mine soon enough." Greed glittered in her eyes. I scoffed. I couldn't fathom the delusion that made her think I was the same man who would forgive her anything, or how anyone could be so completely shameless. Just then, Summer walked back into the office. Isabelle put on a warm smile. "Summer, darling, you must be in middle school by now, right?" Summer's own smile was polite. "I'm in high school, Mom." Not even knowing her own daughter's grade level. Isabelle looked momentarily embarrassed before quickly changing the subject. "All right. I was just so excited I forgot. It's a good thing you take after me. If you were like your father, you'd probably be working some dead-end job by now." The condescension was still there, the same as it ever was. She seemed to have forgotten that the tables had turned dramatically. Summer didn't argue. Instead, she said, "Mom, Dad has a business dinner at a 5-star restaurant with some important clients. We should probably get going." Isabelle's eyes lit up. "Oh, well, in that case, Rachel and I are starving. We'll join you." When I came out of the restroom, Isabelle ordered, "Go get the car." Before I could respond, Summer said, a hint of apology in her voice. "Oh, sorry, Mom. Dad has to pick up his clients on the way, so there won't be any room. You'll have to get an Uber." Isabelle was clearly annoyed, but she reluctantly agreed. In the car, I looked over at my daughter. "We don't have to pick anyone up. Are you sure you don't hate her?" Summer just looked out the window. "She's my mom, Dad." I drove to the restaurant in silence. Isabelle and Rachel had arrived before us. After finding out the reservation name, they had seated themselves at the head of the table in our private dining room. I felt a surge of irritation. Even if this was just a casual dinner with friends, their lack of manners was astounding. Summer, however, remained poised. With a maturity beyond her years, she calmly asked the waiter to start bringing out the food. Course after course of lavish dishes began to fill the table. Isabelle's eyes were practically glued to the prime rib and lobster. I figured she hadn't had a decent meal in years. Then, as the waiter set down plates and silverware for everyone else, Isabelle snapped, "Excuse me, is this what you call 5-star service? Where's my silverware? How am I supposed to eat?" That's when Summer smiled, a bright, innocent smile. "Oh, Mom, I didn't ask them to set a place for you or Aunt Rachel." Isabelle's face went dark. "What did you just say?" she demanded. Summer's smile was angelic, her voice sweet. "I never said I was treating you to dinner, Mom. You're the ones who insisted on tagging along." I stared at my daughter, stunned. So this was her plan all along. She was getting her revenge. And here I was thinking she was just a girl desperate for a mother's love, willing to overlook everything. Isabelle shot to her feet, completely unhinged, her finger pointing accusingly at Summer. You tricked me, you ungrateful brat. Cole, look what you've done. Look at how you've raised her. Rachel chimed in, her voice shrill. Seriously, Cole, we're family. We haven't seen each other in years, and you pull a stunt like this just to humiliate us. At that moment, I didn't care who was watching. My only concern was protecting my daughter from their poison. I stepped in front of Summer. Isabelle, I've met shameless people before, but you two take the cake. The year you sold the house and emptied your accounts for that temple, Summer was sick. She needed money, and we were kicked out of our home in the middle of a Chicago winter. We nearly froze to death while you. I turned my glare on Rachel. I came to you begging for a loan, or even just a warm place to stay for the night. You chased us off your porch with a broom, screaming that you didn't know a couple of beggars. Have you forgotten that, my dear sister-in-law? Summer looked at me, her eyes wide with shock. She had been too young to remember the worst of it, and I had never wanted to burden her with the details. Now, hearing the truth, a new layer of hatred hardened her gaze as she looked at Isabelle and Rachel. The other men at the table, old friends and business partners, exchanged uneasy glances. Hearing my story, they looked at Isabelle with open contempt. The scorn in their eyes seemed to push her over the edge. She started screaming at me. What is your problem, Cole? Do you have to embarrass me in front of everyone? Have you forgotten what you are? You were just some broke kid from a dead-end town before I gave you a chance. You think you would have ever seen the inside of a place like this if it wasn't for me? So I donated some money to a good cause. I was building good karma. You should be grateful, but you just can't let it go. Her words were venomous, her disdain for me as raw as it had been a decade ago. I didn't bother to. I didn't even bother to argue. She wasn't worth the breath. But Summer couldn't hold back. She stepped forward, her voice sharp with fury. You shut up. You think you can look down on people just because you used to have money. My dad earned everything he has. But you abandoned your husband and your sick daughter for your high school crush. I'm the one who's ashamed of you. Summer had been with me through the darkest times. I remembered her so small, clinging to me, begging me not to take another diving job. I already lost my mom, she'd sobbed. I can't lose my dad too. That was the moment I swore I'd build a life for her where she'd never have to be scared again. And I wouldn't let anyone threaten that. My face turned to stone. I called the restaurant manager and had security escort both women out. Isabelle, furious at Summer's words, lashed out with flailing limbs and curses. Her old high society poise completely gone. As the guards dragged her away, Rachel leaned close and whispered something in her ear. Isabelle went silent, her face hardening with cold fury as she was taken out. For some reason, I knew this wasn't over. Sure enough, 2 days later I got a text from her. She wanted to meet. I happened to be out with my assistant, Ashley, having just closed another deal. So I agreed. I needed to know what her endgame was. When I walked into the cafe she'd chosen, her eyes landed on Ashley with me and her expression soured. Cole, this is between us. Do you really need someone else here? I sat down across from her without a word. Forced to continue, she put on a look of deep sincerity. Cole, I've had time to think, and you were right. I was wrong. I was young and foolish. I know that now. Her eyes pleaded with me. Please, can you forgive me? Summer needs her mother. We can be a family again. A happy family. She looked genuinely remorseful, eyes brimming with tears. I stirred my coffee slowly, a cold smile tugging at my lips. She was still a fantastic actress. When I didn't respond, she grew agitated. Cole, say something. What do you want from me? Are you done? I asked quietly. She looked confused. I'm done. Good, I said with a nod. Then I'm going home. My daughter is waiting for me. I stood to leave. That's when she finally broke. Tears streamed down her face as she cried out, Cole, why are you being so cruel? You used to tell me you loved me more than anything. I made one mistake. Why can't you forgive me? One mistake. I don't think so. I remembered how she'd only settled for me after Julian went abroad. I'd been happy, but also heartbroken, because no man wants to know he's second best. I thought with time, maybe I could win her over. But after Summer was born, her family dismissed her for not being a boy, and Isabelle's affection for our daughter was lukewarm at best. Then, when Julian found his calling, she didn't hesitate. She ran back to him. She threw away every dollar we had while Summer was fighting for her life. The world praised their epic love story, but no one saw me holding my sick child, shivering on a street corner. And now she had the audacity to claim our child needed her? Isabelle, let's just end this cleanly. I've already sent you the divorce papers. I hope you'll sign them, but it doesn't matter if you don't. You've been gone for 10 years. A court will grant the divorce easily. See my resolve. She panicked. Her eyes darted around before she blurted out, Cole, I'll be honest with you. I have cancer. I need $2 million for treatment. Please, for old time's sake, just give me the money. Cancer. I studied her face. She couldn't even meet my eyes. A dry chuckle slipped out. Isabelle, it's not you who's sick, is it? It's Julian. After all those years together, I could still tell when she was lying. So this was it, she'd come back for him. The irony was almost unbearable. My words shattered her facade. With nothing left to lose, she dropped the act. Fine. Yes, it's for Julian. So what? We're not divorced yet, which means your money is my money. $2 million is nothing to you. Just give it to me. I'll sign the papers and disappear. You'll never see me again. Her devotion was almost impressive. Isabelle, do I look like an idiot? Why would I give you a dime? I stood up. Have some self-respect. She looked stunned as if I'd slapped her. In the past, no matter how angry I was, I never would have spoken to her like that. As I turned to leave, she did the one thing she knew would cause a scene. Cole, you heartless bastard, she shrieked, her voice filling the quiet cafe. After all I did for you, you get rich and just throw me away. We have a daughter together. She turned to the other patrons. Everyone, look at this man. The minute he makes money, he abandons his wife and flaunts his mistress in public. She pointed a trembling finger at Ashley. I'm sick. I have cancer and he won't give me a penny to save my life. He spent it all on her. I gave him a child and this is how he repays me. Is there no justice in the world? Ashley was young and beautiful. To the people in the cafe, Isabelle's tearful performance was convincing. Murmurs and glares spread through the room. Typical man. Money really does corrupt people. He should be struck by lightning. Disgusting. His poor wife is sick and he's out with that girl. The judgment was swift and absolute. Isabelle shot me a look of pure triumph. I just gave her a cold smile and nodded at Ashley. Calmly, she took out her phone. A recording began to play, the sound of Isabelle's own voice from moments earlier. Fine. Yes, it's for Julian. So what? Just give it to me. I'll sign the papers and I'll disappear. Her face went pale. The same patrons who had been cursing me seconds ago now turned their scorn on her. Cole, she stammered, shaking with rage. I smiled again. Did you really think I'd come here unprepared? I knew you'd try something like this. That's why I brought Ashley along. Humiliated, Isabelle fled from the cafe under a storm of insults. After thanking Ashley, I drove home. When Summer found out I'd met with Isabelle, worry etched across her face. I ruffled her hair. Don't worry about it, kiddo. Your dad's a superhero, remember? Dad, she said seriously, I don't think she's going to give up that easily. A stone dropped in my stomach. She was right. I knew Isabelle's personality. She never quit until she got what she wanted. And this time, it was for the man she'd given up everything for. I sighed, wondering what I had ever seen in her. But when I looked at my daughter, I made a silent vow. I would never let Isabelle hurt her again. As expected, Isabelle wasn't done. She organized a protest outside my office building, complete with hired picketers and a massive banner that read, Heartless husband abandoned sick wife for mistress. Soon, a crowd gathered, blocking the entrance. Isabelle stood in the middle of it all, weeping and repeating the same lies she'd spun at the cafe. She was betting I wouldn't dare play the recording in front of my own company. My phone buzzed. A text from her. "I bet you'll give it now." I smiled, blocked her number, and called the police. They arrived and dispersed the scene, taking Isabelle with them for causing a public disturbance. The crowd melted away, but my employees looked at me with questioning eyes. I didn't explain. Instead, I had Ashley play the audio from the cafe over the office intercom. After that, the looks changed, from suspicion to a mix of respect and pity. I thought a night in a holding cell might finally quiet her down. But when Summer came home from school the next evening, I knew something was. Something was wrong. Summer was usually so bubbly, always full of stories about her friends. But that night she was silent. My heart pounded in my chest. "Did your mother find you?" I asked. Her lower lip trembled before she burst into tears. I wrapped my arms around her, my fists clenching in silent rage. The next day, I drove her to school myself. She didn't want to go. "It's okay," I told her gently. "Dad will handle this." She gave me a small, determined nod. Sure enough, when we pulled up, Isabelle was waiting by the school gates. The moment Summer stepped out of the car, Isabelle rushed over and threw herself at her daughter's feet, clinging to her legs. "Oh, Summer," she wailed. "Your father has abandoned me. You're my daughter. You have to help me." Summer flinched, her face tightening with disgust. Students walking by started whispering, "Look, it's that woman from yesterday. Why is she grabbing Summer's leg?" I heard Summer's dad got rich and dumped her mom for a younger model. Seriously, what kind of kid comes from a family like that? Yikes! The rumors swirled around my daughter. I could only imagine what she'd endured the day before. Fighting back my fury, I looked down at Isabelle. "Is this your master plan? Is this how you get your money?" She looked up at me, eyes filled with hate, and whispered, "Whatever works." I leaned closer, my voice just as low. "You want money. Fine. I'll give it to you. But you're going to stand up right now and tell every single person here that you were lying." The mention of money made her eyes gleam. She scrambled to her feet. Right there on the spot, I transferred $200,000 to her account. As soon as the confirmation came through, she announced to the lingering students that she had made everything up. Then she posted a public retraction on her social media, clearing me of all accusations. The whispers died down. I told Summer to go to class and promised her I would handle it. Then I transferred Isabelle the remaining $1.8 million. I had done my research. Julian's treatment would cost at most $1 million. I had no idea what she planned to do with the other $1 million, and honestly, I didn't care. With the money in her account, Isabelle happily signed the divorce papers. Before she left, I told her one last thing. "Stay away from Summer. If you ever come near her again, I'll make you pay back every cent with interest." My tone must have scared her because she promised she would. After she was gone, I sent one final text to her sister, Rachel. "I gave Isabelle the money. Both of you stay out of our lives." The whole family was cut from the same selfish cloth. With Rachel out of a job and supporting her own family, I knew she'd be hungry for a share of that money. I've never had much faith in human nature. It rarely holds up under pressure. A friend of mine at the hospital later confirmed that Isabelle had indeed used the money to pay for Julian's treatment. His cancer was caught early enough that his prognosis was good. Isabelle probably imagined that once he was healthy, they could finally live happily ever after. But reality hit hard. Julian was soon caught checking into a hotel with another woman. Isabelle tracked them down and confronted them, which erupted into a screaming match that ended in a physical fight between the two women. Someone filmed it. In the video, Julian shielded the other woman, shouting at Isabelle, "You've been the one chasing me all this time. Tiffany is young and beautiful. What do you have to offer?" Isabelle's voice was raw with rage. "I gave up my family for you. I donated millions for you. I went back and begged that pathetic loser for money. For you. And this is how you repay me. Julian just sneered. Did I ask you to? After that, Isabelle left Julian's place and moved in with her sister, Rachel. Once Rachel learned Isabelle still had $1 million left, she started bleeding her dry, demanding money every few days. A few thousand here, 50,000 there. Within a week, Rachel had taken over $500,000 under various pretenses. When Isabelle finally refused to give her any more, Rachel snapped. She flew into a rage and kicked her out. The sisters were finished with each other. With nowhere to go, Isabelle came back to me. She was barely 40, but the past few weeks had aged her a decade. She looked haggard, beaten. Cole, I was wrong, she pleaded. Let me come back. Summer needs a mother. Her voice was thin, desperate. That monster Julian, he used me. All these years, he was just using me. Let me come home. We can make it work this time. I promise. I looked at her, my face impassive. Did you forget our agreement? Just then, Summer's voice called from inside the house. Dad, dinner's ready. I called back that I was coming, then turned back to Isabelle. If you have any decency left, you'll stop interfering in our lives. She saw the warm light spilling from the doorway, heard my daughter's happy voice, and broke down crying. I couldn't tell if it was regret or just self-pity. To me, she was nothing but a stranger now. I turned my back on her and went inside. The next time I heard about Isabelle was a month later. After running out of money, Julian had gone back to her. Incredibly, she took him in and gave him the last of her money. It turned out that after leaving the commune, Julian had developed a serious gambling problem and was buried in debt. That night, Isabelle reportedly asked him one question. Do you love me? He told her exactly what she wanted to hear. But as soon as he had the cash in hand, he spat at her. You're an old woman still talking about love. Take a look in the mirror. If you didn't have money, do you think I'd even look at you? That was the last straw. As if in a trance, Isabelle pulled out a knife she had hidden and stabbed him, again and again and again. They said the scene was horrific. Dozens of stab wounds, each one a testament to the depth of her hatred. Isabelle was arrested for first-degree murder. She was sentenced to death. Before the execution, she asked to see me one last time. I went. If I hadn't left with him, she whispered, her voice a ghost of what it once was, we would have been happy, wouldn't we? I thought about it for a moment. No, I said honestly. Because you can't change who you are. At your core, you're a selfish person. She covered her face and sobbed. I'm sorry. Tell Summer. Tell her I'm sorry. I nodded. You should be. Now she has to live with the fact that her mother was a murderer. Your actions will cast a shadow over the rest of her life. At that, she completely broke down, slamming her head against the table again and again, chanting, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. But what good were apologies now? I walked away without looking back. A few days later, Isabelle was executed. I felt nothing. She got what she deserved. My future was clear. All that mattered was working hard, making money, and giving my daughter a life full of peace and security. That was enough.